To order at 4:02 p.m. on March the 11th. Susie, you want to make the roll call?
Yes, I saw. You hear my daughter in the background. I do apologize. Deborah Carter.
Here.
Kim Sella. James Carter. Edward James.
Here.
Mr. James.
Here.
Linda Camp.
Here.
Miss Rollins. Ben Samuels.
Here. Lisa Rollins is here, but can't unmute.
Okay, so
Okay, I will. James Neely.
Here.
That is who is present.
Jordan Sanders, not here. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All those in present from bi-state or St. Louis County, introduce yourself and your department, please.
I'm Tom Curran with Bi-State Development Administration.
Okay.
And I'm Vicki Potter, Controller of Bi-State Development.
Chuck Stewart, Chief Operating Officer, Metro 10.
Okay.
Ed Zimmerman, Vice President, Marketing and Communications, Bi-State Development.
Okay.
Associate County Councilor Portia Britt here for the County Councilor's Office.
Okay.
Ray Golick, St. Louis County Department of Transportation and Public Works.
Okay.
Adam Spector, St. Louis County Department of Transportation.
Okay. Anyone else in attendance? Okay. Next order of business, we're going to approve the minutes from prior meetings. We're going to approve the minutes for the December 11th, 2023. Do we have a motion for that, please?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And move properly second. All those in favor indicate by aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? Good, ayes have it. Motion passed. Reports. St. Louis County Office Departments. The representative from the Office of County Council. Okay. Office of the County Executive. Okay, the Office of the Department of Transportation, Public Works.
Yeah, so I know you had asked about locations where we put in these ADA compliant landing pads last year.
Yes.
Turns out that in 2023, we only had 2 projects that coincided with bus routes. One was on Westport Plaza Drive, and we put in 4 of these landing pads along that stretch at existing bus stops. And the other project was on Midland Boulevard between, shoot, now I'm blanking, Woodson and, is it Woodson and North and South, I think. And we had, no, I'm sorry, that's the project we've got now. From Woodson to Lindbergh. And we put in, it looks like about 11 locations there where we had, made ADA compliant landing space. But, essentially these are just, it's just a flat concrete where a wheelchair can sit getting on and off the bus. So it's not something that, it doesn't come with a bench, doesn't come with a shelter. It's just that minimum ADA compliancy. And our process generally goes that when we put together our applications for federal funding, we'll coordinate with with MoDOT in that process, just to kind of see where bus routes are on the projects that we're proposing. And we'll account for doing these landing pads on those projects then. And then usually there's another point of coordination a couple years later during the design process to kind of verify those locations. And then sometimes there might be a couple years after that during actual construction where we might have to re-verify the activity, the activeness of a bus stop for locating these pads. But you know, that's essentially what we're doing on our end.
Okay,
Can I ask a question, Ed?
sure.
So when these pads are completed, do you provide a list to Metro Transit of these 15 concrete ADA pads that were completed in 2023? So they potentially could add to that amenity with, whether you want to call that an amenity or not, but add to that with a bus shelter or a bench or anything like that?
No, I don't believe that we do. In fact, I mean, it was kind of, when we were trying to gather this information, it wasn't even something readily available. You know, the way it gets rolled into our project, it just kind of shows up as part of the concrete quantity for sidewalk. You know, it's not even an item that we break out specifically. So, you know, we had to do some digging to come up with this list. And, you know, as far as what you would consider, you know, I was making some guesses even on this list. There's just places where, you know, we did a concrete sidewalk repair that coincides with the bus stop. And, you know, we would count, I personally counted that, you know, basically when we fix the sidewalk at that location, we would make sure that it's a level concrete pad, basically. There are some locations where we have that little concrete pad goes between the sidewalk and the curb. You know, so that's all we're really talking about. You know, and it's at existing bus stops. So, you know, we do make Metro aware of where our projects are. Like I said, there's 2 points of contact, one during the application process, and then usually a second one during the design process where we verify those locations. So, you know, Metro is typically aware of where our project is. But no, I don't think we have any means of really closing the loop at the end of the project saying we put in the ADA landing pad there in case we wanted to do anything else. You know, it's just a bus stop like any other at that point.
From a commissioner perspective, that seems like a missed opportunity, in my opinion. If the county is investing in making the bus stop ADA compliant with either the sidewalk or a landing pad before you board the bus, it seems like there's a missed opportunity here to connect with the transit agency or potentially even the local municipality, if in fact it's a county road in a local municipality, that more could be done for bus riders. You've invested this much, but it seems like a missed opportunity here. And Ed, I'm not sure if there's a way to pursue it, but if we're investing a little bit, maybe we could take it the next step further for bus riders in the county, if in fact we're improving the location where they're waiting for the bus.
I agree with you because my question would be, who determines if it's a pad or just a pole in the ground? I have seen so many poles in the ground, you know, either next to a curb or right on the other side of the sidewalk. And I want to know who determines if there's a pad or just a pole to say that this is a bus stop. Who makes that determination? And I think that's something that we probably need to pursue, you know, go a little bit further on that. I agree with you, Kim.
I don't know if that's the county transportation department or if there's an opportunity there for the county to prioritize these as you're looking at road projects. I am not clear currently what the next step is. I just feel like there should be a next step. If you're actually working in those roadways and you're looking at the pedestrian access, the sidewalks, why not include the bus stops a little further?
If somebody's willing to give us money to do these things, we're willing to do it, I would say. I mean, I can't commit to anything, but I'm pretty sure that we would be open to it. At this point, we're struggling to maintain the system that we have with the budget that we have, and we're way behind on that. So, what we're doing is basically the minimum that we have to do. So, when we make that sidewalk repair, we'll do that, and we'll try to get in that little landing pad. But again, there's design issues, and in order to make that work, if you have to get into buying right of way, then that becomes another issue. It's an additional cost that we can't necessarily afford to bear, and additional work that we can't necessarily fit into our time frame. But I think we would be open to conversations if someone else is going to bring some money to the table for us to include that. Because I agree that if we're already out there working, it makes sense, and I know it makes sense from your perspective that we go the extra step. But there are those technical reasons why we can't do that within our project without some outside assistance.
Well, technically, who all needs to be at the table in conversations like this? I know you do, and the budgeting committee needs to be there, but we're looking out and trying to increase ridership. I think there's something that we basically have to look into. If it's not feasible, let us determine if it's not feasible. But right now, we're talking about trying to increase ridership, and I just drive by and I see too many poles in the ground versus pads. And, I agree with Kim. I think there should be something to look into to see if we can do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think we're open to it. It's just a matter of we're out of money. We've got a whole list of sidewalk needs and things that we have no money to address. And that's in locations where there is sidewalk that's deficient, not even places where there is no sidewalk and there's just the pole in the ground. So, this would have to entail somebody bringing extra money to offset that extra cost of expanding the bus stop.
Chuck, I know that there was another document sent to the commission today from Metro Transit on how you select bus stops to upgrade.
Yes, everyone should have received document entitled Overview of Protocols and Processes for Metro Bus Stop Placement and Amenities. And it deals primarily with, how we select where a bus stop is going to go. And that's basically based on ridership in a particular area. We have rules concerning how close or how far away a bus stop should be. And that's probably pretty much talking about the placement of the pole and the sign. As it relates to other amenities, the pads, the shelters, we are usually seeking partnership, either with the local municipality or businesses in the area, people like that, in order to add whatever amenities that community may need. I was also asked a question about the Metro Adopt-A-Stop program, and that is still in existence. And there's basically that's designed for businesses primarily to partner with us in adopting a particular bus stop, maybe providing the funding for a shelter or other improvements, and then helping to maintain that stop. So that program is certainly still alive and well, and it's online at metrostlouis.org /adopt-a-stop.
Is that also a avenue for that business to advertise?
Advertise?
Yeah.
I think advertising is, that's in Ted's realm of the world.
So if we're talking, I'm sorry to cut in, Chuck. If we're talking about on the Adopt-A-Stop,
Yes.
so when that stop is adopted by a business or a community group, their name actually goes on the Adopt-A-Stop sign.
Okay.
Actually, that's a part of the Marcom report. You'll see that there were 5 that were just added. West Florissant and Cary, Halls Ferry and McClellan, St. Charles Rock Road, Natural Bridge, and then it looks like 2 at Southwest in McCausland. So yeah, the program is out there. Right now we have about 422 stops across the community that have been added or that are actually adopted. That would include all of our region. Sorry to jump in there, Chuck.
No, thank you.
And
No,
my
I'm-
thinking goes along the lines of like the funding, because we know all of these things are really expensive. We know that there are a lot of different funding opportunities that it's really hard to keep track of. And I don't know what, if any process is in place to like the cross collaboration of what funding, like federal funding opportunities, because it seems to me like there are likely some funding opportunities to help us enhance our ADA compliance. There sounds to me as well from the conversation around Adopt a Stop and local entities being a part, like there may be an opportunity for an organization who specifically looks at this issue to partner to help identify additional opportunities so that we can have funding to increase ADA compliance. I don't think it's something that has to be done in solo. I think this is more of an opportunity for more community, business, government collaboration to find additional funds to help enhance our ADA compliance, because our entire region wins when we're able to do that.
Right. That's a great point. So also keep in mind though, with the Adopt a Stop program, it specifically is designed to help make sure that our communities look good from the standpoint of trash. And so being able to, partner with local organizations and groups where there's a bus stop in front of their business, and they're able to help us to keep it clean and tidy, that's really where that Adopt a Stop program has been designed. But I think that there is a future to help us to really kind of look at all the ADA compliance as well.
Sounds like a winner. Let's try to find some way to come up with, I guess, the right questions and see if we can get the right people at the table so we can get the questions, a lot of the answers to these questions and concerns that we have.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
It may help, rather than questions, what are the objectives of the committee in this area?
Okay.
Because we've been asking questions for a year, and we've been coming back with answers, and then there's more questions. Maybe if you tell us what your objectives are, then we can start talking about a solution.
Sounds like a winner, sir. We'll work on that, Mr. Stewart. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay, thank you. I think we basically laid that to all that to bed. We covered the stops. We're going to look at streamlining the process. We got the number of pads and everything. St. Louis County Police Department. Or is there any other questions on the from the transportation department?
For the transportation department, do we know how many are planned for 2024?
Not offhand. I'd have to pull up the list and find out what projects we've got. I can look into that for next month.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Brad Keeling is on. He just can't talk. So
Who's that?
That's
Is he?
Brad Keeling for
Oh.
police.
Okay.
Brad, can you hear us and speak?
You guys hear me now?
There we go.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No problems. All right. Not too much to pass along. If you guys wanted me to expand upon the type of training we do on our heavy days and some of our other objectives, I'm happy to do that.
Yes, sir.
All right, the question I believe was asked last time, what type of training do we do? Most of our training is mandated by the state to meet core areas, including hazmat training, implicit bias training, racial profile training, first responder, first aid training, de-escalation training. After all those areas are satisfied, we look for other types of continuing education classes to send officers to help assist in their development. But most of the continuing education classes that these officers do attend are mandated by the state. But also on those heavy days where we have a full complement of officers, we've been doing fair audit enforcement, being able to, which is part of our job, is to go out there as a larger group. That way we can do the fair audits on there. We did seem like we were encountering a lot of the unhoused. So I had an opportunity today. I met over with representatives from Chestnut Health Services, trying to start up a better partnership with them, have them respond with us so that we can give some more resources to some of the subjects we come in contact with. So they are going to come out with us during our next fair audit enforcement, which is usually once a month or maybe twice. And that's what I have for you. Any questions?
Any questions for the police department? I guess so the training for the day shift, night shift are basically the same. It's just basically everything is mandated by the state.
Very much, yes.
Do we have any training that's specific just to the community that they serve, or working with other local departments? Since I know the county is kind of hit and miss in terms of municipalities that they patrol. Is there any interaction between I guess this is a question for the next thing. Any interaction between your department and some of these smaller municipalities, police departments?
Absolutely. Same thing. All those smaller municipalities have to attend the same amount of training that we do. Again, to be licensed as a police officer in the state of Missouri, they have to attend those core classes that I discussed earlier yearly to keep up those hours. So St. Louis County, Maplewood, Kinloch, we're all attending the same classes.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for the police department? Okay. By state development, workforce update.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. I now have over 600 Metro bus operators. So as you know, we've been recruiting heavily for bus operators since the early part of last year. We implemented the $5,000 signing bonus. That is working. We also have enhanced our training programs. We're starting apprenticeship programs. We have a new contract with Local 788, which is providing performance differentials for our drivers to come to work and work the shifts and the routes that we need them to work. Our mentorship program is going strong as we are hiring new operators and they're completing training. We are matching them with mentors. And because of the situation we have right now, we're able to pair them with mentors. We have the mentors, the new hires working with mentors 1 week on that mentors route. And then the next week, we're having the mentors riding with the new hire on their routes. So we're trying to basically train our team better, giving them more experience, give them better understanding of how all of this works. And we have the ability to do that at this time. The downside of where we are right now is that we are still in need of call ride operators, and we are still in need of mechanics. So we're focusing our recruiting efforts more so on those areas than just bus operators. We had a hiring event about a month ago, last month, and we made offers to 71 call ride operators on the spot. We had another event last Saturday, and we had another 45 offers for call ride. A few offers for mechanics. We're having a focused event just for mechanics this Thursday at our Brentwood facility. Again, I cannot move forward with expanding bus service or increasing frequencies on Metrolink service until I can also bring caller ride along in that equation, and I have the mechanics in order to take care of those vehicles. So we're looking forward to the same type of success as it relates to call ride operators and mechanics. So that's kind of pretty much where we are in terms of operations, in terms of ridership. Ridership is pretty much stable as it relates to last year. As I've reported before, we've had increases in ridership coming back after the downturn with the pandemic, about a 6% increase per year for the first 2 years after the pandemic. This year it's pretty level, and I think part of that is because of the level of service that we've been putting out. But as I said, we are in the process of improving our service frequencies and reliability. We had a service change in January, which we don't normally do, because we had enough drivers to increase frequencies and reliability on over 17 routes at that time. We have another service change scheduled for March, and at that point we will continue to improve service. Again, I cannot expand service until I catch up with call ride. One of the things that good things that took place a week ago Monday, we were able to reopen the junction at our DeBoliver intersection of the red and blue Metrolink trains. We finally, after the flood of last year, we finally got everything repaired. Of course, that flood caused over $40 million in damage to our system, and we've been working very diligently to get back in place. So again, when we have more operators, and we will be able to add frequencies again to Metrolink as well. Over the next few months, we will be out in the community, not only for call ride, but for our transit service in general. We will be getting input because of our ability to improve our system over the next few months. We need input from our customers, our riders, our stakeholders. And so you will see evidence of us holding events to get that type of feedback moving forward. I think that is the extent of my workforce and performance update. Are there any questions on that information?
You gave the numbers for bus operators. What is the current number for call ride?
Call ride number is about 120, and I
Okay.
need about 70 more.
Okay. Okay, any questions on the workforce updates? Okay, ridership. Yes, sir. Mr. Stewart?
On ridership,
Yes.
I mentioned that ridership is stable this year. We were up 6% last year from pandemic lows. This year, again, ridership is pretty stable. Again, I think that's because our ability to accommodate more ridership at this time because of the level of the service we are providing right now. As soon as we start providing more frequencies and more service, we anticipate that ridership will recover more.
Okay. We have some additional updates we would like to cover. Take them in your, whatever order you'd like to discuss them, sir.
Okay, these additional update on north-south Metrolink expansion. I think after your last meeting that Tim Sella provided each of you with the presentation that was given at the East-West Gateway meeting, at which time they approved what we are now calling the Green Line as the locally preferred alternative, which means that we can move forward in terms of getting the necessary funding and completing the necessary planning for that line. So that is a Talby pet project. I don't think I'm allowed to say more than that about that at this time.
Okay.
Unless you have questions, of course, I can probably.
Does anybody have a question on that north-south expansion? Okay, sir.
All
I
right.
think you already discussed the Adopt a Stop.
Yep. Update on legislation, issues with guns on buses and trains. I think there is no update. That legislation is not moving forward at this time. So I'm not sure what else there is to report on that.
Any questions on the gun legislation?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you keep mentioning schedule changes. How is that determined? And I know you said it was one in January, another one in March, and how do you determine that?
We usually do schedule changes in quarters.
Mhm.
So we did one in November. The next one normally would be in March, but we were able to do one in January because of additional operators being available. It's pretty much a supply and demand kind of equation. We determine from the number of operators we have how much service we can put on the streets. And at the same time, we are constantly monitoring our ridership. We're constantly getting feedback from our operators. Operators are a tremendous source of information. They let us know which routes are full, which routes are not so full, what we should do in terms of maybe adding buses or hopefully changing frequencies if we're able to. So we have a planning department that basically uses all of that information. They have the Trapeze software in order to do that. And basically it's a combination of where and how much is the demand for service and what are our resources available in order to meet that demand. So it's a planning process.
Does the general public find out by just say posting on that particular bus stop?
Well, we usually put out advance notice, certainly before every quarterly change. You will read it you see it in the news, on whatever social media, on our website, all the places where on our transit app, the information is available widely to the public in a timely basis before we make any changes.
Okay. All right. The FTA award for rail vehicle program.
So we received a FTA grant for $196 million for our light rail program to purchase new light rail cars. We have been negotiating with Siemens in order to procure those cars. We have signed that contract. So that is in process. We are replacing a fleet that is in some cases 30 years old, so we need these cars. We need them as we move forward into the future. You probably won't see evidence of new cars probably for another 3 years. It's not something that you buy on the showroom floor and they deliver it. There's a lot that goes into agreeing on specifications and building and transporting and making space available in our facilities and that type of thing. But as more information is available, we will be reporting that.
When was that grant awarded? You got the date on that? Or if not, you can just get it to us.
I don't, it was earlier. I do, I probably have it somewhere here.
You can get it to us later.
Tom, do you know when that was, or Ed?
I know that when the Secretary of Transportation was here, it was cold. We were out at Emerson Park for that announcement. I would
That's
say
what it
it's
was.
been 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, it was late last year, middle, yeah,
Yes.
Correct.
okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions on the rail vehicle program? Okay, finance.
Hi, I am Vicki Potter. I'm the controller of Bi-State Development. I wanted to say hello to everybody. I am sitting in for Tammy Fulbright. So if you want to go to the finance tab, I am starting on page 2, just going over the revenues. Passenger revenue is 10.9 million year to date, which is unfavorable to budget and unfavorable to the prior year actual. St. Louis City revenue is 23.7 million, which is favorable to budget. St. Louis County is down 33.9% compared to budget. The federal grant revenue is also down, and this is due to more work being done on capital projects versus non-capital projects. Expenses are favorable to budget by 5.8% due to a decrease in salaries and services. So that pretty much takes us through page 2 of the income statement. Page 3 is basically the detail of all the sales tax grants and contract sales. So does anybody have any questions on the statement of activities? Okay, I'm going to move on to the balance sheet. Page 4 shows an increase in cash that's consistent with the decrease in investments. Motor buses are up due to the purchase of buses. I wanted to take you to page 5, and I want to call your attention to the decrease in long-term debt and the increase in short-term debt due to a reclass of the LRV leases, which will pay off in January of 2025. So that lease is now a current liability. Is there any questions on the balance sheet? And statement of cash flows is just basically shows you from last year to this year, the movement of income and assets and liabilities. Does anybody have any questions on that?
We don't, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Now, there was a question
Oops.
that, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Yeah. There was a question about the COVID relief funding. You prepared to address that today, or should we carry that over?
What is?
It's basically the update on the COVID relief funding, including providing the remaining balance at this point, the amount available for next year, and what impact will this have on bi-state requests, funding requests for next year?
So I can tell you that the COVID, we drew all the COVID funds were drawn down last year. And so there will be no additional funds drawn down this year. I can't really answer the question as far as the income, the impact on bi-state's funding requests for next year.
Okay.
But we have drawn down everything.
Okay. We will leave that on the agenda.
Okay, and I'll email Tammy and let her know you all had that question.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As we move along. Security. Anyone from security?
Does not appear that Kevin Scott is on.
Okay, well, we will carry his report over to next month. Okay, marketing.
Afternoon. So last tab in your booklets, if you have your books there, is all of the marketing, communications, and engagement. So I might just kind of go in the order that you have there as far as team member recruiting and hiring events. I know Chuck really covered a lot of that from that perspective. Marketing and communications continues to support the efforts through our PR efforts, such as having local news crews drive a bus. This past month, Chuck was out in our Brentwood facility with John Pertzborn talking about the mechanics and actually having a mechanic changing a belt on our equipment and stuff. And so we see that those do resonate really well with the community. We also use a series of radio stations and use kind of creative ways to make that all come together. The other thing that we've been doing, and we've done it on operators, we've done it on mechanics, and we're also looking at it from the standpoint of working for Coloride, is a program that looks at lead generation. And so the program actually does a lot with social media. We have the ability to geo-target or geo-fence certain areas. So for instance, in this last month, we were geo-fencing mechanics. And so we focused on Jiffy Lubes and those kinds of lube services, car shops, anyone that does any kind of work on a vehicle, we use that to geofence. And so what we do in that program is for those mechanics or those individuals that receive those social media posts, we serve up a message on there that asks them if they want to find out more information about Metro Transit and working with us, the great benefits that we have, the tool allowance, the uniform allowance, the great benefits and pay that we have. And then the interested party will insert or put their name and their phone number and email address into a contact form. That contact form is routed over to our recruiting team, and they are able to make contact with individuals that show an interest. So through this program with our mechanics, we had about 171 leads that came in that way. And so if an individual isn't necessarily ready or interested at that point in time, it does create a database for us to be able to go back and really kind of focus our focus on operators or mechanics or wherever. So when you have a good thing going, you try not to mess with it too much. And so what we do on a monthly basis is, as Chuck and his team are doing the hiring events, we look at how many people are coming in, how many offers we're making, and then based upon that, then we would make adjustments to our media strategy from that perspective. Customer experience, I see that that's on there as well. So when we look at engagement and our overall customer experience, there's several things that we do look at. And so Bi-State Development as an organization has core values, one of them being customer first. And so we take that value and actually create a little bit more focus, I should say, in the area of how do we respond to our customers? How do we make the engagement better? How do we make the experience better for them? So as we've been going through that, we are focusing this year on effort and emotion. And so when you start to look at effort and emotion, it really gives us a better idea of what's going on for our customers. Effort is, how difficult is it to use our system? How difficult is it to use our apps, our phone system? How many people do I get transferred to in order to get a question answered? And so that kind of helps us to look at the focus as far as effort. And then the emotion side is just really looking at the metrics that are coming in and looking at some of our operational data as well, and bringing what we call our X, which is experience, and our O, our operational side, together. We start to look at our measurements in a way that starts to measure our customers' attitude. So It's a process that takes some time to go through, but what we've been doing in this process is we've developed what's called a journey map for Metro Transit. A journey map helps us to better understand how people are getting information about us, how they're seeing our system. And so it literally walks through every kind of point of entry, whether it's through our website, through an app, word of mouth, advertisement, our telephone system, and then also looking at how that experience goes on to our system. And then the other side is the follow-up and how they finish up with our system as well. Customer experience is not something that is new to any industry. I'd say transit is probably one of the most recent to really start focusing on a customer experience. And the reality is this: every specific person that's out there that uses our transit system has a decision to make whether they use us or not. And so when we start moving from the phrase of a passenger or a rider and moving towards a customer, it begins to change how we look at that. So from the standpoint of our recruiting, looking at the individuals that we're bringing in, how we train, the mentoring programs, the rehab of the training programs that Chuck and his team have been doing, those are all things that are helping us to move in a new direction. And so what we do is for this next year, what we're doing is focusing on some of the smaller pain points and looking at what we see of customers coming in. So for instance, we know, Colorado is one of those areas that we know that needs to have a lot more work, and we're all jumping behind Chuck and his team in order to make sure that we're successful in the Colorado area. And then so what we do with our team is listening to our frontline team members, our back of house team members, and then also from the standpoint of our customers, where do we need to make the biggest impacts? How do we make those? What are some of the quick wins that we can do? What are those transformational kinds of situations that we go through and momentum builders? And then there's also some others that are out there that we call derailers. Those are things that are high effort, but they have low impact. So we try to stay away from those as much as we can, but start to focus in those other three quadrants in a customer experience. We have been doing a reboot on our surveys that we have out there on the system. We use a program called Qualtrics that helps us to intercept with different customers on Metrolink, Metrobus, and also Colorado. And so in the next months, I'll be providing some information on those surveys, how we use those, and how they help us to transform the experience for our customers. The other parts within marketing, and you've got the book, I apologize. My team, I kind of let them loose and they gave you lots of information about what we do on social media and all that. I promise in the future I will not kill as many trees because I've asked them to pare back, but I wanted to give them the opportunity to start to show what they do. But when we look at positive and neutral reach, we're reaching over 37 million reaches as far as messages about Metro Transit. And if we would have to go out and buy publicity at that point in time on positive and neutral, it would equate to about 3.1 million, almost $3.2 million in additional money that I'd be asking for from the team. But we're able to do that through positive and our PR efforts. A lot of our focus this month was on weather events. Also making sure that customers that were using us for leisure sporting events were able to get to us, the geofencing that we were doing with the hiring. Also, you had talked with Chuck about the service enhancements that have been going on, or service changes.
Right.
So my team is responsible for making sure that gets out in the news through the social media. Also on our system, we put up rider alerts. If there's a significant negative change to our system as well, there is public engagement that goes on to those routes to make sure that our customers can get to where they need to go more quickly. Also in the service change, we just recently launched a quick survey to ask those individuals that are on those routes where they had changes, what they thought of those. And we just got those research pieces back, and we'll be able to make those available to you all in the next report that we have. Transit tools that we have out there. One of the things that we've been working on, again, in order to improve the pain points for our customers, on Metrolink, if you are using the Transit app, you'll notice that there are 3 kind of Wi-Fi bars that are going next to our trains as well. And so we've been able to add real-time information on arrivals for our Metrolink trains. So when you're using the Transit app or using Google Transit or calling into our customer service area, they can tell you exactly where those trains are, how many minutes they'll be out and are away from those stations. And so that has been something that our customers have been asking for a while. We saw a heightened awareness of this as we went through the flooding event that took out our communications at the De Bolivar crossing point. And so we were able to get that in there. We're still working on the announcement of it because we want to make sure that from our ADA community that we have the phone numbers and the right pieces that are working that way. But for any of our customers that are out there that are intuitive in using the Transit app or Google Transit, they already know that Wi-Fi or that real-time arrival information is there. Transit and Google are very good that if our Wi-Fi or any of those things go down, it notifies our customers quickly as well. So we see from our customer surveys and research, which I'll provide with you guys in this next month, that our customers rely on these transit tools very much to know what's going on our system. Signage on our system is another important way that they receive that information. So over the next year, we'll do improving our job as far as making sure that our customers know where that information is at, how they get it as well, and bringing those into fruition. So anyway, I apologize for going on. That was one long-winded sentence without a breath. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Any question of marketing? Hearing none. Thank you very much. Good report. Colorado.
All right, back to Colorado. So we talked about hiring. Again, I need about 70 Colorado operators. Before we can, safely and effectively serve the customer base that we now have within the Colorado Polygon, which again is 3/4 miles of our fixed route service. So we're working diligently on those hiring initiatives. Also like to report progress. We have been asked by the disabled community and the community at large to make some improvements as it relates to our Colorado service. One had to do with our telephone system optimization. We've been able to add 10 lines to the system over the past month. We've also launched a tree process where you call into Colorado and you can select the service that you're needing. If you're needing something other than scheduling a ride, you can be directed to that area. So hopefully that will mitigate the call times that are required to schedule a trip. We're all hands on deck in terms of answering the phone. Anybody that's in the vicinity of a phone, your job is to answer that phone and take care of that customer. We're planning additional improvements to our phone system in May. We're going to a new provider, which will allow us an opportunity to even further expand the number of lines coming into our operation. The other issue had to do with registrations and our dispatching software. We are viewing many demonstrations at this time of new software options, including with our existing software vendor. We are planning to make a decision on that in the very near future, and probably within the next 6 months, we will have new software in place to handle the issues that we've been having in terms of taking reservations and completing those trips. We were asked also to hire a consultant, a ADA consultant, which we have done. He's visited here with us. We're in the process of reviewing the preliminary report and also further engaging this person probably to do a deeper dive on Colorado and our operating structure there, as well as our policies and procedures, those kind of things. Not only for Colorado, but for our system at large. Our entire system is designed to accommodate different levels of disabilities. And one of our objectives is to make sure that everybody gets service and that they are able to choose the service that best suits their need. So that's an ongoing project. One of the things that we're considering implementing very soon is a subscription process. We have a number of CallerRide customers that use CallerRide at least 5 times a week on a regular basis to do the same type of trips frequently. We're trying to do a subscription service such that they can sign up for those trips. And as long as they are meeting the requirements of being there when it's time to pick them up and following the rules of CallerRide, they will no longer have to call in on a weekly basis to schedule a trip. That's going to free up our phone system as well and make our scheduling a little easier. One of the key things that happened this past week, said previously, we are negotiating a new contract with ATU Local 788 for our CallerRide operators. We made significant progress on that contract this past week. The union has accepted it as a tentative agreement, and they will probably be voting on it this week. And at that time, we will be able to provide additional detail as to the components of that contract. So that's a quick update on CallerRide. Any questions concerning CallerRide?
I guess my main one was training and any requirements or what's the qualifications to be a CallerRide operator, that they're not interchangeable with the regular bus operators.
Well, first of all, they're two completely separate union agreements.
Okay.
So there are different requirements there. CallerRide operators, we do hire at 18 versus 21 for a bus operator. Chauffeur's license is required. Have to get a DOT approval for 1 year, and you have to have at least 1 to 2 years of driving experience. After hiring and clearing of all the background checks, the drug test, those kind of things, it's about an 8-week training program, 80 hours of classroom training, 80 hours of actual on-the-job experience, driving and that type of thing. It's in 8 different phases. The first phase is orientation. What is CallerRide about? What is Bi-State about? What are our policies in terms of CallerRide and ADA service? Second chapter is on customer service, providing the service that our customers require. Third phase is accident prevention and reporting. Fourth phase is how to collect fares and transfers. Fifth phase is operator duties, such as pre-trip orientation and determining their vehicle problems in terms of mechanical issues, how to report those things. Sixth phase is daily procedures and reports. Seventh phase is equipment, operating the van, radio operations, wheelchair procedures, etc. And the last phase is mapping, routing, and scheduling. So it's a pretty intensive program, and it's different from operating a van is certainly different from operating a bus. We are hoping that sometime in the future they will be more interchangeable. That if we have a need on one area and have surplus in another, that we might be able to transfer those, but that would require some type of agreement with our labor unions, and it would require us to train everyone on all aspects of the different vehicles and the different type of customer needs. But we're looking to do that in the future.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Stewart on the CallerRide program? Okay. Hearing none, thank you very much. It's like there's no old business, no new. Looks like, again, if any of the commission members or board members have any suggestions that they want for future meetings, just send that request to either myself or to Izzy, and we see if we can get it on a future agenda. Right now, our next meeting date is April the 8th, 2024, at the regular time of 4 o'clock. This time I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 We missed a couple, but. Okay. All right. Motion passed. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much. Good meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.